Good afternoon, everybody. So nice to have this perspective for a change. Thanks for all sticking around. I hope you're all still have some energy for some lightning talks. Hope they will be all spectacular. I'll do my best. Also just really grateful to be able to present to all of you at the same time, so we don't have to do this individually. It would take a long time. My name is Niels. I'm one of the founders of Immer. We're a startup in the Netherlands. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about my company, what we create, our Immer reading system. For those of you who don't know it yet, and also a little bit of an update for those who've heard some of our story before. But the main course will be our Creative Europe project ENTALE, where we just organized a hackathon in Zagreb, and that was nice, and lots of ideas came from it, so I want to share some of that with you. If there's one thing you take away from my talk, I hope it's something like that I believe that we could be doing even more to create technology that lets authors express themselves in better and new ways to then engage readers in new ways. And then maybe new business models and monetary opportunities will come from that, who knows. So our system, the Immer reading system, that's the B2B product that we make, just as an introduction. It has two parts. One part is the SDK that lets any technical team build a reading app. And importantly, that SDK includes our reader module, which is a new and quite opinionated way of reading on a small screen. So just as a sneak peek, it's a very customizable, very flexible setup that takes EPUBs as an input, but does a lot of things with them. Lots of opportunities for color, typography. The blue blobs are indicators that show where chapters and where sub-chapters, like lines of white space start. It helps you get a sense of the structure of a book that you easily get on paper or maybe on a bigger screen, but it's very hard on the phone. So that's the kind of thing that we do that also we think looks really nice and attractive. It is also all vertical. We decided that it makes sense that on a small screen a book becomes this long like ruler where you are the little slider that goes slowly through the book. But not only that, it is a social ruler, because on the pages of the book people can leave comments and then have a discussion on the page. So that's the SDK. The other part is the Immer Cloud, which is our fast and secure storage and delivery solution that stores digital books, social notes, anonymized readers. So together those things sort of provide a full solution. Oh, the Immer Cloud includes a dashboard that has things like annotation, moderation tools, data analysis, stuff like that. Yeah, so some examples of things that we've built or helped build. The Bookmarker Club, Club Lees, is a monthly reading club where these influencers choose a book. That book becomes available for free for a month, and they put a lot of different notes in the book that can take the form of video or audio or just text. And then, yeah, there's a discussion with the community. And there's really a lot of notes. So every few pages, you switch back and forth between reading and seeing what this person thinks about it, or the extra insight that they have. So it's a much more active form of reading a book together. An app that we just launched for the Dutch Reading Coalition, which is like a group of all the organizations that are working on book promotion in the Netherlands. For them we made the Good Story, Goed Verhaal app. And the nice thing about it is all these organizations can put their campaigns in this app. And then the stories in the app can very much take on the look and feel of the different campaigns. So lots of, again, flexibility in our reader module. And the last one I want to share is Reading Evolution is a big research project of the University of Utrecht, which is our hometown. They're doing a long research project into how children learn to read in this digital era. And we're providing the research setup for them to do all kinds of experiments. So for example, we just delivered this experiment all about sessions, planning your reading, setting reading goals, having streaks, those kinds of things. The nice thing about focusing all our attention on an SDK and a cloud system is that now that the setup is working, we can expand upon the toolkit and build features that are possible in our system that would be hard to do otherwise. So one of my favorite examples is the book navigator, which is this, again, a book becomes a vertical slide ruler. You can see it while you're reading on the side, and if you tap it, it expands, and you kind of see the structure of the book you're reading. So you see the chapters, you see how long they are, you see how many lines of white space there are, and you can easily navigate. You can scrub like through a paper book. So this is already working. This is we're shipping this to all the apps that we help make. But now the next step is really nice, where we will be adding the social notes to this book navigator as well. So you kind of get a social overview of the whole book and all the activity that's going on. But I promised I would talk about our ENTALE project, our Creative Europe project. And ENTALE stands for Exploring New Technology to Advance Literature in Europe. Yeah, like I said, it's a cooperative project, so we work together with partners from a small amount of European countries. Booksa is a literary cultural organization from Croatia, and the book company in Portugal, they're now part of Penguin Random House, but they are really good at organizing book festivals. And yeah, we got a cooperation project going, got 200,000 euros of funding from Creative Europe, with basically as a goal to inject some creative energy into digital reading. With the background being the global reading crisis that we're all in, with all these things going down. And on top of that, the rising misinformation, semi-information produced by AI, increasing polarization, where good books would help so much if we'd all read a few more books. That would help. I feel like more than even listening to books, reading at your own pace, really trying to get into the perspective of the author, this almost telepathic connection that you get is really unique to the book form and something that really helps humans connect and humans understand each other better. So yeah, against that sort of depressing landscape, we're trying to do good. Where I do think there's some things that are hopeful. We haven't really talked about Book Talk today, but Book Talk gives me hope, like this sort of new generation of readers and authors that are sharing together, that really care about some of the things that I also feel are important. Sort of the authenticity of books, the aesthetics. But Book Talk is mostly about physical books, right? The physical objects, loving that, sharing that together. And I do think that with our system, we are trying to make something in the spirit of Book Talk, in its immediacy, in its verticality, but also the aesthetics, the social aspect, of course. But so far, our work has been all about taking existing books and converting them to the screen in a new, fancy way. And it's quite hard to really make something new that's really suited to this new medium. And I often think back to a project that I made before founding Immer. This is 6-7 years ago. Lotus was a digital novella that I wrote myself. I'm an author, I'm a published novelist. And this was an experiment to write a story just for the screen. It would only be possible on the screen. And I worked with artists to create animations and color landscapes and even audio landscapes. And it was quite a cool experience for those who experienced it. It is still in the iOS App Store, by the way. But my conclusion was that it's really not possible in any sensible way to do this. It took me way too much time. I had to reinvent the wheel 3 times over. And the conclusion was like, if somebody wants to do something like this, they would have to do the same thing again. So I took a lot of those sort of ideas into the ENTALE project, where we said, we have to make it easier for creators, especially non-technical creators, maybe vibe coding will help, I don't know, to explore new ideas more quickly, to build things more quickly, and then build the tools that help non-technical creators, authors, designers to create new reading experiences. Which brings us to the hackathon that we organized. I'm sorry you all couldn't be there, but I will try to give you a glimpse of the experience. So we started at the Booksa book cafe, where almost 50 people came together, many engineers, but also people from the publishing industry, authors, designers, visual artists. We had a nice chat about this philosophy. And then we got to work 48 hours, 11 teams, all making something. My co-founder Lennart here, with his team, he made a VR reading experience, which was sort of interesting. And in the end, we had 3 winning teams and a very proud Niels. I'm always amazed. I've done hackathons before, but I like the creative and focused energy that it creates. So much stuff happened, and it was really nice to see everybody work towards this goal that I felt very strongly about. And despite there being 3 winners, it was also really 11 projects that had sometimes subtle, sometimes very small, but every project had something that was interesting or new or brought some perspective where I was like, didn't think of that. I've been working on this problem for almost 15 years now, didn't think of that. So that was really nice. Some examples. This was an experiment where the author can mark certain words, and then when you progress to the next page, some of the words, those marked words, they linger a bit longer. So it's a way for an author to say, if you read this, think about these words a little longer than the other words. They are special, they're important. So I thought that was nice. Also very different things, much more technical things. One team made a working prototype of an app where the leader, the group leader, is able to set the text, and then the text follows along on all the connected devices. So like a Kahoot quiz, but for text. So imagine a book festival where an author is doing a reading and people can read along on their devices, or maybe a teacher in a class, something like that. This is interesting. This is AI summarization, but different. And the idea is it's really more of a current page recap. And there's the balance is not right, I think. Like the summary should be very small and the text should be a bit more. But the idea of you're reading, you can switch on this summary. Maybe you're looking to skip ahead a little bit faster, but there's these lines of text that help you get a sense of what it's all about. And I think that optionality is interesting. And also with all the AI stuff, of course, it's super important that the book is closed, the book is still around, and this does that. So I thought that was, in this age where everybody's talking about AI, nice to see, and at the hackathon, a lot of people were working on AI stuff. But yeah, this was something surprising for me. There were a bunch more. I can't go over all of them. So the next steps are that we will be taking the ideas from the hackathon, be working with some of the creators who were there in Zagreb, and we will put a festival app together for November when there's the Utopia Book Festival in Braga in Portugal. And there we will present it to the world and experience, well, some of the ideas of reading together with an audience come from that. So we'll see how that turns out and if it's interesting. And then hopefully in the year after that, we'll bring it to other festivals around Europe. And then we'll have a final event where we share all the data and share all the learnings. But we're also already thinking about the steps after that. So work on a new application for next year. And then the year after that, phase 2, that will hopefully be bigger, will start, well, where we will be looking for more partners from more countries to work on more authoring tools so that we can spread this technology to more applications, not just book festivals, but other places, so we can reach more readers. And finally, a thing that we also didn't discuss today, really, and is a part of our European project, but not a big part yet, but this idea of reliance on American infrastructures, big tech, and hopefully becoming a bit more resilient and more self-sustaining. So that will be a part of ENTALE, certainly in the future. So if that might be interesting for one of you to join ENTALE in the next phase, get in touch, especially if you agree that technology could do even more to help authors express themselves and readers get more engaged. So that's it. Thanks for your attention and have a nice day.
Hello. I'm Ken, I'm from Circular Software, I don't know if you could tell. We're on the side of people who are actually creating the books, content creators they would hate to be called, but publishers, people using InDesign, the industry standard tool for creating books, and lots of different types of books, but also illustrated books and complex books. So we've got different tools. Greenlight is a way that publishers can get people to work in the way that they want. We can advise how people should be making their books, and this tool can really introduce a way for people to do that. Master Plan is our way to securely share the books online, just the bits that you want to just the people that you want. It could be everything to everyone, or one page to one person. And Circular Flow is the product we started with, a way to get well-made fixed layout ebooks exported with some interactivity and accessibility. We've got some tools. We've got over 100 different tools. So Greenlight is our main one I'm going to talk about today. It's used by Corto and Bonnier and Simon Schuster and parts of Hachette. And it's a way so all their freelancers, but also all their internal staff in different regions can just be creating good books, whatever that is determined to mean by that publisher. So it can be specific images from a specific location, or fonts from an allowed list, or layers that are named in the way that they must be, and the things on those layers must be this, but they must not be that, etc. So it can be very fine-tuned to workflow. But this isn't just it's not an advert because I'm giving away more than 30 free tools. So I was going to explain some of these. We've got image description tools, which I'll try and show you a little bit of. So InDesign has improved in the last 12 months or more. And there is a way you could add image descriptions, but you have to go to the right place in a little grey dialog box and click on the right button and then type in the thing. And then, have you done it? Has your colleague done it? Did they make a spelling mistake? What if you want to translate it? You know, it's workable, but these are making it better. So we've got reading order tools where you can visually mark spreads and get the content, something you could prove to someone else. Is this the right order? Is this the right description? The descriptions are clearly added to it. Labels to say what part of the book is are just visually there as well. It's all very sort of intuitive, hopefully, and visual. We've got lots of tools, so we can create language shift styles and font styles and label the paragraph styles, etc. Also, for general good typography, we can highlight where our widows and orphans are, or where our line breaks are, etc. There's lots, isn't there? We can also have a new one that's coming out next month, metadata matcher. So metadata has also been added to InDesign recently, but again, they've done it in a way where you have to know where to go, and it's in a quite terrible dialogue with loads of confusing or hard to understand selections, and it's on export. With this, you can extract the metadata, you can apply the metadata to other documents, or share it with colleagues, or have like a preset for your metadata. That's a better way to do it. So let's do it that way. Finally, on these, there's text contrast. There's also, for EPUBs, a way to actually open up an EPUB and check that the hyperlinks that you added 3 years ago are still actually pointing to something. So that's a free tool there, and more than that. So reading order, in this little video clip, this is typically for a very illustrated children's book. Most illustrations are actually done across a spread, probably a scan of an actual drawn artwork, or a Photoshop montage, and just placed into InDesign for us to then type over. So we came up with a way to actually mark where the parts of a larger image should be described separately. Also the opposite, what if it's lots of bits of images that should only be described as one thing? So you can make regions. And those regions can also be used for navigation if you have a reading system like Thorium Reader that supports that. So once we've got areas of the page or images themselves highlighted, then we've got the idea of taking them to an online database, a simple image description database, or SID for short, where you can see each image, and it's quite, hopefully, a clean interface. So there's the image, front and center. Here's the alt text, which is editable by you or a colleague or by an image researcher. Of course, it could be, I like the phrase, was it, bring your own key for an AI service could obviously plug into this if you wanted it to also. So with all of the images in a book marked up, exported to this system, described, then what we really would want is to then bring them all back into the book. So this is how we do image descriptions. We can place them onto the document, again for proofing or just for spell checking, or you can see that which images have been marked and in what part of the reading order. This one is just a visual, a bit like those notes I really liked in the new upcoming Thorium, where we've got on the side a coloured line that's showing us what the heading level is. So all these tools are trying to help people make their books in the best way. But it's not just the tools, it also has checks. So it could check and say it's highlighting on the right-hand side It says this paragraph, safety first, is using an H3 tag, but it's coming straight after the H1 tag. So it's able to do intelligent checks of the content, take you to the place where there is a problem. If there's an image that hasn't got a description, it takes you to that place in the book and says this image hasn't got a description. So the checks can be grouped together into checklists. So our accessibility checklists are all free also. So with Greenlight you can have a checklist to check that your book has been well prepared, and if there are issues it tells you how many, and a report to tell you to take you to the location of the problem. These are new. So I've come to the conclusion after many years that this is actually a training issue as well as a technology issue. We need to get people to make the books well, and these tools are for real sort of InDesign users. It can list all the fonts, it can list all the styles, it can make the mapping presets that we need to work with other applications. And the core set of styles is something that could be used and then brought into any document. And finally, what we're going to introduce later this year are themes. Themes are a set of core styles that we can apply presentation to. So basically you can have a theme for a book. By having this idea of having a core set of styles, our content can then be reused. It could be published to the web. It could be translated. It could be exported as a reflowable ebook or a print ebook. Just having our content in this really well-made manner is what this introducing a design system is all about. So, because it's a training thing, I realized that we need to actually have people have some training. So that's what fresh page training is. So me and a couple of other experienced training colleagues are doing some training. What are you doing on Wednesday? Because we are doing a training course this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you can't make that one, Oxford in September is also a nice place to visit and learn. If you give me 3 days, I can tell you how to make your ebooks really well. And finally, if you want to know more, I've decided that this is a good idea to have some sort of place to, like a newsletter that you can sign up to for information, maybe extra offers and things like that. So that's it from me. Thank you very much.